Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1994 Buick Park Avenue Ultra. Up front is a 3.8 liter supercharged V6, and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Buick Park Avenue Ultra here today for one reason. This car is low mileage and a pristine example of the Buick Park Avenue Ultra. It only has 84,000 miles on it, and as you can see from these shots already, it's extremely well kept. So today I'm actually going to take my reviewer cap off and put on my museum curator app and give you a tour of what this car was like when it rolled off the factory floor 31 years ago. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month, as well as there's exclusive audio content. And one last thing, I want to say thank you to Low Mile Cars here in Burridge, Illinois, for letting me borrow their Buick Park Avenue for today's video. They specialize in low mileage vehicles, and this is one of them. So if you want a vintage car that is extremely well kept here in Illinois, please check out their inventory found in the description below. But let's get back to that 3800 under the hood. Well, this is the Series 1 3800 from Buick, and the standard Park Avenue got it with no supercharger, but for the Ultra, they add on that supercharger on top. And this is one of the few vehicles where I don't think the supercharger actually harms the reliability. This engine is incredibly stout, very well built, and is, I personally think, one of Buick's best creations, if not the best creation. It makes good power, it's reliable, and they're just fantastic engines. Like I said, paired to it is a 4-speed automatic. Now, this will be the downside, or I shouldn't say downside, but if there's going to be any trouble with the drivetrain, it'll probably come from the transmission. But then again, these aren't like overly problematic, especially not like its competitors over at Chrysler at the time. Chrysler couldn't keep a gear and a transmission from Reagan to Bush's kid. And last but not least, it is front wheel drive. How does it feel to drive the Buick Park Avenue Ultra? It's great. It's not the fastest thing in the world. You're not going to be speed racer, but it offers a very nice, smooth driving experience. Everything in here is buttery smooth. Nothing is pulsating, nothing is aching, nothing is itching. You just waft everywhere you go. And sure, it doesn't have the V8 that they had in yesteryear, but that's okay. The V6 supercharged really fills that gap, and it fills it quite nicely. Visibility is good. You have thin A-pillars and these big front windows, which is really nice. Ride quality is superb, and the steering actually had variable stiffness steering for the Ultra, so very nice to feel that. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior, because that's where the real cherryness starts to come in. Well, in front of me, I have 6 gauges. Off to the left is my oil pressure, coolant temperature, and speedometer. And off to the right is my tachometer, battery voltage, and fuel. We also get badges for the Dynaride and Supercharged. Now, this is a supercharged engine, but the Dynaride is the air suspension that this does come with. Helps that cloud feel. You're literally riding on air. And on the steering wheel, on the left, we have our seek, program, and band buttons. And off to the right, we have volume and temperature. I truly miss when you could get temperature on the steering wheel. Off to the left, we do have our panel lights, Twilight Sentinel, and traction control button, as well as a climate vent, and our fuel/trunk buttons down below that. And moving onto the door, as it curves onto the door, really love that look. We have the headlight buttons, grab handle, lock and unlock, power mirrors, memory seat, seat options, power windows, and power window locks, as well as we get some wood grain and this nice Ultra stitched into the door. Absolutely love all these little details, and these will definitely come back later on. Moving up into the center, we have 2 interior light buttons, as well as our garage door opener button, followed by the lamp monitor. So this will actually tell you when a light is out on the vehicle. Very cool. It's a little systems check like GM used to do in the 1980s. Down below, we have a Buick badge, as well as the Park Avenue Ultra on the dash. So a specific trim for just the the Ultra. And moving down, we have the radio. This does have a CD player. This has a CD player in 1994. This was way ahead of its time. We also have bass and treble adjustments. And down below that, we have digital climate controls. So we have these big chunky buttons. Absolutely love this. Digital readouts with chunky buttons is my favorite climate control setup. And they're so tactile. They're like big jelly beans, and I love it. But moving all the way off to the right, we do have passenger climate controls. So dual zone climate here in 1994. You still can't get it on a 2025 Honda Civic Si, but here in 94, you could get it. That is awesome. We do have a pull-out ashtray and cigarette lighter. It looks like it's never, ever been used. And then we'll move up to the seats. We do get a bench seat up here in the front, and it's finished in the same burgundy that's found throughout the rest of the interior. Absolutely love this. It's like a fine glass of wine. And I think that that was the goal that they set out to do, and they did it very, very well. However, inside the armrest, we do get pop-out cup holders. We'll do a big friggin' bottle test, and it fails, but I do think that this is a pretty ingenious way of hiding the cup holders and not making them stick out like a sore thumb, but still including them. And for 1994, it's very early to even have decent-sized cup holders. However, we do have back seats here in the Park Avenue Ultra, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 1994 Buick Park Avenue Ultra, and it's just as comfortable as the front. That was the beauty of this car as well, is that they didn't just care about the front, they also cared about the back. I get my own lamps up here. I'm gonna shut up for a second. The clickiness of these buttons. I love that sound. Absolutely love it. I get climate vents back here. I have grab handles on the backs of the front seats as well as pockets on both sides. That might not sound like a lot, but most automakers will do a pocket on the back of the passenger seat so the driver can reach in and find stuff, but not on the driver's seat. There's still seat back pockets back here. I wish that there was a better way to describe these back seats and how comfy and cozy they are. If you just look at them, it is a 2+2. It doesn't appear to be a middle seat. I like that. Again, this is a very personal experience, and we'll talk about that later on, but so nice. Oh, wait, how did I miss? I have my own vanity mirror. Hi, buddy. Oh, man. This is nice. This is nice. All right, let's hop into the trunk, which I'm sure is going to be huge, and then we'll talk about the looks. Right around the back of the Buick Park Avenue Ultra, we do have a key fob button here for the trunk release. There we go. And once we are back here, manual release for the doors located on the upper left side of the trunk wall. So very cool, but as I predicted, it has an enormous trunk, and that was what Buick was known for back in this era, or really just American cars of this era had enormous trunks, and this was absolutely no exception, but absolutely love to see that. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I could give or take the look of the Buick Park Avenue Ultra. I think it looks decent, but I'm not over the moon about it. I like it, and I think that's enough, but I love how well kept it is. As I mentioned, this is a museum quality vehicle, and you see that with the exterior. There's hardly any blemishes in its 84,000 mile life, and that's what we love to see here on the channel. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving this 1994 Buick Park Avenue Ultra? Well, the Ultra is the rarest trim. It was the highest trim level, and it got the supercharged engine, which is what everyone wants. However, this was actually the Buick Park Avenue's most popular year, 1994. They almost sold 65,000 of these in one single year, and that's matched with the low 60s of the years surrounding it. This was a pretty popular car, but they weren't really held on to or kept for all that long. But now, given the chance to spend some time with it, to drive it, to really sink my teeth into it a little bit, there's one thing that glaringly stands out about this car, and it's the fact that Buick cared about it. It really, truly feels like Buick put their all into this vehicle. They tried as hard as they could, and for that, it was very successful. But you just don't see that in more modern cars. The way that these doors swoop into the dash, the colored interior, the user-friendly climate controls, the early adaptation of the CD player, the supercharger. They didn't have to supercharge this. They could have left it with the 3800, and people probably wouldn't have batted an eye, but they did it. They supercharged it. This whole car, it really feels like a love letter from Buick to the American population. And I just don't feel like modern Buick does that in any certain way. It doesn't feel like they really truly put their all into any of their vehicles. They put effort into them, sure. They push profit margins and add tech and leather, but it just doesn't feel the same. The way this car is sculpted, the way it rides, the way it sits, the way it starts up and shuts down, it feels like a personal experience. It feels like this car was personalized for me. It feels like Buick built a bespoke chariot just for Zack Pradle. And that is when a car is special, when you get an individualized experience of a vehicle that's sold to the public. This wasn't built for me. This wasn't tailor-made for this video 31 years in advance, but it feels that way. I feel like Buick held my hand and sat down with me and said, what would you like? Oh, okay, let's do that. How about this? Let's try this. Let's do that. And I know that that's false. I know that that's not true, but that's how it feels. And sometimes, more often than not, that's most important. And so, here is a showroom-ready Buick Park Avenue Ultra. And I hope that this is a showing of what Buick was capable of 31 years ago for generations to come. I hope this video withstands the test of time long after I'm gone. This stands as a monolith to what Buick could do, because when they really tried, they're so great. And I hope that this Buick makes a return to our market. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Low Mile Cars here in Burridge, Illinois. As I mentioned, they have tons of low mileage, really unique inventory. Inventory that certainly scratches my itch of cool, interesting, low mileage cars. Please go check them out with the inventory found in the description below. You won't regret it, and if you would like to own this Buick Park Avenue, I will leave a link in the pinned comment. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.